Hello everyone, it's Roddy on 7X, and a couple of weeks back when it was featured I watched Bad Questions to Ask a Transsexual, and I just thought that I could probably do a version that was shorter and less venomous. I understand where the venom is coming from with all the, how all the questions are really frustrating and angering and everything, but I'm not actually trans, although I do know 2 or 3 people who identify as transgender, so I really got kind of educated through interacting with them. So I'll give it my best shot. Okay, the golden rule is that you should treat a transgender person as you would treat any other person. If you follow this rule, you cannot go wrong. If you're really strapped for time, you can stop this video right now. Number 2, if you want to know information about the surgery or anything like that, go online or read a book or something. It's not their job to educate you about this. There's plenty of resources everywhere that you can find out, like what the hormones are like, what you have to do, blah blah blah. Talk to them about other stuff. A lot of transgender people are uncomfortable about discussing their lives before their transition, so don't ask questions directly about that unless you're absolutely certain that they'd be comfortable with it. Like if you've been talking with them a long time and they're really open about everything. Really, if you randomly meet someone who's transgender, you're probably not going to be talking about this personal stuff anyway. I mean, you'd be talking about like sports or the weather or something, so I don't really understand how this really comes up. But if you really get to know that person and become friends and everything, then you might feel a little more comfortable, but you're kind of the judge of how far you can ask questions. And don't ask stuff like, so how does the surgery work, blah blah blah, because as I said, you can figure that out. Ask personal questions like, so how did you feel about blah blah blah, and stuff like that. Because stuff to make friends closer, you know. If you meet someone and you don't know whether to use he or she with them, you could either try to use neutral stuff until you hear someone else refer to them, or you can ask. Above all, don't guess, because a lot of the times you're going to guess wrong, and that's just really bad. I did that once, actually. I accidentally said he or him or something, and she just corrected me really fast. She said she, and I said oh, I'm sorry. If you do make the mistake of calling someone by the wrong pronoun, you want to apologize and then just go on, pretend it didn't happen, because for a transgender person, being called the wrong pronoun kind of sends this message that you're failing at being a man or a woman, and it's kind of really traumatic. But also not gonna want to harp on it and oh, I'm sorry, I had no idea, I'm really sorry, I think you make a wonderful woman or whatever. It's that's just putting way too much attention on it. So just say, oh, I'm sorry, and then be sure you use their pronoun correctly. If you're having trouble with this, the more that you interact with this person and use the correct pronouns, the more you'll think of them as that gender. So above all, just remember the golden rule and don't make a big deal about it. Treat this person like you would any other person. Don't talk about them being transgender, talk about other stuff, talk about books. You talk about random stuff with everyone else. I don't see why you should feel like you have to talk about this. Good luck. I'm also going to be posting a companion video to this about questions that you shouldn't ask someone who's transgender, but I'm going to answer them because I'm not. I'm not going to call it that, but I'm going to provide information about the questions you're not supposed to ask about, the surgery and stuff. I'm not actually trans myself, but I know 2 or 3 people who identify as transsexual. Fuck. I want to say fuck a lot. I really don't cuss that much. Oh man. I gotta put this in the head. Okay.